I did not want to make this video. I hate to do this because like I feel like I don't like making negative videos, and I have a feeling I'm gonna come across very negative in this video because there's a lot wrong with this game. What game are we talking about today? Well, you already know if you clicked on this video, but we're talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet today. Now, this video has come out way later than I would have ever wanted it to come out. However, I was not having fun with this game, and it took me a very long time to continue playing this game because of the amount of issues that I gathered through my playthrough. And I also just needed to process everything because there was a lot of things happening with this game after it came out that shocking development, to be honest. Things that I would have never expected to be talked about online, especially coming from Nintendo, happened with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Today, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the issues with the Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. So this video, you could look at it as a review if you wanted to, because we're definitely going to be talking about Scarlet and Violet, but I want this video to be more of an explanation of why these games are the way they are and how it's only going to get worse from here. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the issues with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So obviously, these games have performance issues like crazy. I have never, ever played a Pokemon game that had this many frame rate drops throughout the whole game. Everywhere I went, there was frame rate drops, even cutscenes with like very few characters. I was seeing the game drop in frame rate, and it was unacceptable. And I want to point out that I have played the game before the patch and after the patch, and the game still runs like crap. I don't know how Game Freak looked at this and was like, let's release this, because the game runs like absolute crap. I struggled to play the game because it ran so bad, and I'm Mr. Nintendo Switch, so I play a lot of third-party games on the Switch. If I'm struggling to play a game because it runs bad, then the game truly runs bad. And this is a first-party game. Well, second party, but it's something Nintendo has part ownership from my understanding. And this is horrible. What is this, Game Freak? What actually is this? This is garbage. This is... And the sad part about this is it's only gonna get worse from here. Now, I know some of you are going to say that I'm part of the reason to blame for this, since I actually bought the game. However, I am a YouTuber. I do videos on Nintendo games. I have to buy this type of stuff if I want coverage on my channel, because one of my friends tried to use that as a reason that I'm part of the problem, which was absolutely stupid, and it's actually the person editing this video. So anyways, the game sold 10 million copies in 2 days. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, yes, these games right here sold 10 million copies in 2 days. Now granted, there's two versions of the game, so obviously there was people buying both versions, some just buying one. So a lot of the Pokemon fans seem to buy only one game, with the hardcores buying both versions of the game. So those numbers are probably not as high as we think, since the two versions of the game came out at the same time. However, that is ridiculous that a game like this, with the amount of issues that it has, sold that many copies in 2 days. And it just goes to show, going forward, all Pokemon games are gonna struggle to look good, run good. They're not gonna care to put the time into it, because the Pokemon community and the Nintendo community is always buying these games day one, no matter what. And I know some people that are rebels that are not buying the Pokemon games right now because the quality is very noticeably dipped down. However, unfortunately, it doesn't matter that you're not buying the Pokemon games now, because 10 million copies in 2 days, absolutely ridiculous numbers. Like, that's insane numbers. That was probably one of the best selling games of this year, to be honest, and that's a Switch exclusive. So like, my whole point in bringing this up is, if we want Pokemon games to do better, we do have to come as a group, and not just one-sided. We need to come as a group to not buy these games at launch. However, with Pokemon being one of the biggest things of all time, I don't think that's possible. It's gonna be impossible to pull that off. It's just, I am afraid of the future, to be honest, because with how bad these games were, the frame rate drops. Like, I'm very curious to see how next year's Pokemon game is. Speaking of next year, we had 2 mainline Pokemon games drop this year, and I don't know if that was part of the reason why these games had as many issues as it did, but we had Pokemon Legends Arceus come out this year, and this game was absolutely amazing. This honestly was a Game of the Year contender for me. I thought this would have been nominated for Game of the Year, but it didn't. But we had 2 mainline Pokemon games drop within the same year. I don't know, I assume same development team. I know that Game Freak hired a different team to do the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remakes last year, but I found it very weird that Game Freak went ahead and was like, hey, we're gonna release 2 mainline Pokemon games this year. This came out, I think, in February. This came out in November. So, I mean, I guess there was a nice gap between there, but it wasn't needed. Pokemon Legends Arceus was an amazing new taste in the Pokemon series, and I feel like for me personally, these games ruined that for me. But I also think I'm kind of in a Pokemon drought where I'm Pokemon'd out. I don't want to play any more Pokemon because these games are not as fun as they used to be for me as a kid. And maybe I'm just growing out of Pokemon. But I really felt like Legends Arceus was an amazing game and that really appealed towards people like me that was starting to grow out of it. And I feel like Scarlet and Violet could have been that also. It just ran into so many issues. Like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet honestly has some amazing ideas for the Pokemon series. A lot of good ideas. The whole game is honestly a very good idea. It's just somehow along the way the development just did not go well with the game. I love the amount of stuff that you can do in this game because there's multiple different ways that you can take the story in terms of how you want to go, and you can choose what you do first, and I think that's pretty cool. It was definitely something unique into the Pokemon series that I hope next year's games run better and do kind of like what Scarlet and Violet did. Or, in all honesty, I think what really needs to be done if Game Freak wants to win the Pokemon community where nobody's going to complain anymore, I really think Pokemon needs to do the Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed effect. And what I call that is, they used to release games every year, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, but have since then switched to every other year. I think if Pokemon could do that, I think we could have way less issues throughout all the Pokemon games that we've been getting. Because all of the Pokemon games on the Switch, I would say, have struggled from a development standpoint. And I know people are gonna say it's the Switch, not Game Freak. No, this is not the Switch. The Switch has nothing to do with it being a weak system and nothing like that. This game could have came out on the PlayStation 5 and we would still have all these issues. What it comes down to is Game Freak is spending too much time making multiple Pokemon games at once. That might be why Legends Arceus was such a good game, because their team was not focused on the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remakes, because they were focused on Legends Arceus. And maybe they were so focused on Legends Arceus that they just didn't have enough time for these games. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but if Game Freak could please release these games every other year, I think the games would run, look better, there would be less complaints about the models, and all that good stuff. I would say all the Switch Pokemon games have struggled with this, but I would say Scarlet and Violet has had the most noticeable decline in Pokemon games. Sword and Shield had it, but it was nowhere near as bad as what these games were. And very noticeable, very noticeable. I think it's absolutely crazy that Nintendo was offering refunds for this game, because Nintendo never does that. And I think it's crazy that Nintendo themselves tweeted about a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patch and saying, we hear you fans, we're listening. I mean, Nintendo themselves know that they have a terrible game on their hand. That was something, as for me, very surprised that I saw throughout my whole Nintendo history. I mean, I guess I can't really think of, out of my history at least, with the Wii U and through the Nintendo Switch, I can't really think of a first-party Nintendo game that had as many issues as Scarlet and Violet did from a frame rate perspective. So that might be why Nintendo tweeted out, because it's like such an un-Nintendo game for it to have this many issues. I don't know. It was very interesting that they did this. Overall, Scarlet and Violet had the potential to be very special games. But unfortunately, money stopped it from happening. Game Freak, they want that yearly Pokemon game. And I mean, they already technically had a yearly Pokemon game, but they wanted that holiday Christmas money coming in. So they released Scarlet and Violet. Games that did not need to come out. Games that were very unfinished. Like, I witnessed so many pop-in situations with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, I'm literally in a building and I see a Pokemon go inside of a human and the frame rate just goes like absolutely crazy. Like the whole building doesn't load in when I'm in there already, and it's a small building. Like, it was absolutely crazy the amount of issues that I ran into this game. And like I didn't finish the game because I wasn't having fun with all the issues I encountered, which sucks. It sucks I wasn't having fun with this, because I think honestly, if it wasn't for everything that we talked about today, I think this would have been actually a really good Pokemon. It's just so many noticeable things that you can't unnotice prevent you to enjoy the game, because I really wasn't enjoying it. And I was really, like, after playing Legends Arceus, I thought Pokemon games were gonna be great again. I thought I was gonna be a Pokemon fan again, but nah, Scarlet and Violet, they just went back to its core, except way worse than what it was with Sword and Shield. So yeah. These games, garbage. Would not buy them unless you could get a really good deal. Like, I don't even know what's considered a good deal in my opinion for these. I feel like $20, but these games are never going to be $20. So disappointing. At the end of the day, Legends Arceus is the game that you should buy if you don't have this already. If you're debating about either these three games, you're debating about this, go with Legends Arceus. This is the true Pokemon experience right there. And then if you want like a good, like, normal Pokemon game, Let's Go Pikachu. This was actually a really fun game. I would say these are the only good Pokemon games on the Switch. So anyways, guys, I think I've been talking for way too much. I think this is going to be a very important video down the road. I do want to know what you guys think of the whole situation with Pokemon in general. What do you think needs to be happening for us to change? As you know, these Pokemon games, they're getting worse every year. Less quality is being put into them because Game Freak knows no matter how bad these games are, people are still going to buy them. I know it's a situation that you like vote with your wallet. That's something I've always pushed. However, Pokemon is too big enough that I don't think us voting with our wallet is gonna matter. I mean, Pokemon's literally, I think, the biggest thing of all time. So all these kids are gonna buy this game up and they're not really gonna care about frame rate issues like us and all the hardcore fans, I guess. It's one of those things. It's just like, ugh. It's a tricky situation, and I don't know how and what's gonna happen, because for me personally, I don't know. There's a lot in this video that I think will open the minds. At least I hope this video opened your minds up to what we talked about. I felt like we talked a lot about, you know, all of this. It's just like, they're gonna get worse. I know next year's Pokemon game is gonna be far worse than what we got here, and that sucks. It sucks. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out my Twitter, check out my Twitch, check out my Instagram, check out everything that's in the description below. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.